So lately we've been talking a lot about consoles versus PCs and the sort of PC that you would need to sort of challenge a console like a Xbox Series X or a PS5 or even a PS5 Pro. And it got me thinking, well, instead of talking about it, let me show you. And this PC is a PC that I built a while back to be my own media / TV gaming PC. So this is essentially my console. And I did this sort of to try a new form of gaming for myself. I'm someone that's always sat in front of the computer and played games and just used a mouse and keyboard. But, you know, there is something to be said for comfort and playing in front of a TV, nice big screen, leather recliner, having some comfort, and of course, playing with the remote is, some would say, more ergonomical. So what do you need to actually play, you know, console gaming on a computer? Well, you need a computer, you need a remote controller, you need a keyboard, and you need a mouse. Now, it depends on the games you play, of course. If you're just going to play Assassin's Creed and Need for Speed, and even Call of Duty to some extent, then just a controller would be fine. But if you want to play competitive sort of esports kind of games, a mouse and keyboard is going to be required. So let's get into the specs and see what I came up with. As I said, I built this a while ago. This is second-hand parts mostly, and peripherals, also a mixture of second-hand and new. And all in all, this comes out to almost exactly 10,000 Rand, which right now is about $600, maybe between $600 and $700. So keep that budget in mind, because just a PS5 Pro without any extras is almost that price. A Series X in South Africa is going to be more than this. It's going to cost more. The PS5 base model will cost more than this in South Africa. So with that in mind, and I am South African, with that in mind, let's see what you need. So let's get into the peripherals first, and we can talk a little bit about why I picked these ones and what you can do if you want to do something similar. Now, on PC, if you want to use an Xbox controller, you are going to need one of these or a cable. And this I got from Takealot, which is sort of like just an online retailer here in South Africa. And all this does is it connects your Xbox controllers, and this is a series, I think this is a series controller, connects it to the computer. And this was around, for this plus that was around 1,500 Rand, which is not cheap, but these are some really nice controllers. Then, for the mouse, we have a Red Dragon mouse. This one, it's called the Taipan Pro. It's an okay mouse. It's not amazing, but it's a good. It does the job for me. You can choose between RGB if you want it, or Echo mode, which is just RGB on the mouse wheel, or you can just turn it off. And this is, for me, it's quite comfortable because I have bigger hands, so it depends on your grip. And I myself like Red Dragon's peripherals. I think they make good stuff, and I've always been happy with them. For the keyboard, I got a TKL Red Dragon Draconic Pro keyboard, and this is quite nice. It does take some getting used to. If you are used to a full-size keyboard, this is going to be a little bit strange, but it's quite good. Very responsive and tactile. So the keyboard and mouse cost me around 1,000 Rand for the two. The mouse was new and the keyboard was second-hand, but not really used. It was just something someone bought and didn't get around to using. So you're looking at about 2,000 to 2,500 Rand worth of peripherals, which is around $150 to $200 worth of peripherals. For the computer, there's a few things that you need, obviously, and the most vital being the graphics card, of course. I'm going to switch this on. So this is a custom build, obviously, but you can build, it doesn't have to look nice. It doesn't have to have anything specific. You don't need RGB if you don't want it. I myself like to have a little bit of color, so I like a little bit of green or purple or whatever. but I don't like to overdo it, so just a little bit of color. So if we're just talking about the base specs, this has 16 gigs of 3200 megahertz DDR4 RAM. This has a Ryzen 5600, which is a really good 6-core CPU, and this has a 2070 Super from Gigabyte. So that's a really good card for the money, of course. And you know, the other specs, the case is a little deep cool case. I think it's the CC530 or something like that. Deep cool LED strips. They come with a remote, so you can choose the color that you want. This case does have fans that has its own lights as well, so you can change that if you want to. For the CPU cooler, it's also a deep cool CPU cooler, but for a CPU like this, you don't need to worry about that too much. For the power supply, I went with an Antec 80 plus power supply, 750 watts. For the RAM, this has Clev RAM, and I think it's called Clev Cloud or something like that. As I said, 3200 megahertz. It is RGB. If you care about that, it doesn't really matter. I bought 2 extra fans that suck air out, and as for storage, it has a 512 NVMe. It has a 2 terabyte SSD, and it has a 2 terabyte HDD. So if we're talking storage, we are destroying consoles. And all of this is right around 10,000 Rand. Like I said, right around $650 to $700. So, you know, as I've said a few times, the question becomes, what do you want to do? If you just want a game, it might be better to just get a PlayStation, because you do get the peripherals included. Everything is ready to go. You know, same with Xbox. But if you want to do a bit more, you want to do some, because this is strong enough to do some really good production work, some really good engineering work, design work, 3D, 2D, whatever you needed to do. I might throw in an 8-core CPU for that, but you know, if you are just going to game, sit at a computer with a keyboard and mouse upstairs, you know, just normal gaming, it might be better to get this. If you do want to just play in front of the TV, it's 50-50 for me. It depends on if you need that factor of convenience. So with that said, those are the specs, these are the peripherals, and let's benchmark it, let's test it out, and let's see what we get for 10,000 Rand. Let's do it. All right, getting into the Far Cry 6 gameplay here, and I am right now playing with the wireless keyboard and mouse, and we are running at 2K, so 1440p at high graphics, and it looks pretty good. I mean, visually it looks really good, not much to complain about. The TV's refresh rate is 60, and it is constantly around that 60 mark, so we are getting a really smooth experience here, and yeah, like I said, not much to complain about. Let's do something a little bit more intense and see what happens. Let's try and do an airdrop and see what happens when we have to load a bit more of the map. Now, we do only have the 16 gigs of RAM, which isn't the most in the world, but it's not bad either. It's still going to do the job. And, you know, for the sort of gaming that I do on a system like this is exactly it. Just, you know, Far Cry, Need for Speed, FIFA, those kinds of games. And we are still around 60 FPS. We haven't really dropped below it yet. And again, I mean, look at this. This looks fantastic, and this is right around the same price as a PlayStation 5 base model, not even the Pro. So, yeah, I think it's a really good result. This is incredibly smooth. I'm sitting about 5 or 6 meters away from the computer, not having any latency issues with the keyboard or mouse. The gameplay is good, it looks good, it feels good, and all in all, just a really good experience, as you can see. Now this is a really fun game, but yeah, really visceral, really responsive, just a good experience. So definitely able to play Far Cry 6 at high graphics, at 2K. I'm willing to bet that at ultra graphics at 4K, it'll even be fine. So yeah, great experience. Let's try another game. Okay, so this is Assassin's Creed Origins, which I think is 2 Assassin's Creeds ago, or maybe 3. I'm not sure, but this is the one that I have. And let me just kill this guy. And yeah, it's a really good looking game. So this is running at ultra graphics at 4K. Now, this is not as hard to run as some of the other games, but this is still a really, really good performance, you know, all in all. I mean, it's a really good looking game. There's a lot of visual effects, a lot of fog, and it hasn't dropped below 55 yet, so we are getting around that 60 FPS refresh rate, well, refresh rate as well, but 60 FPS mark, and that is more or less what I think we would go for with a game like this. Especially if we are trying to recreate a console equivalent sort of performance directive. So for me, this is a fantastic result, getting around 70 now, and it feels good, it looks good. Ultimately, it just runs really well. And I think this is the kind of game that you can sit back with, don't even know how to jump, that you can sit back with a controller and just enjoy, you know, just play sort of casually, and it's a beautiful game, and I think the system is proving itself as a modern console, not just equivalent but better. And I think all in all, value for money wise, a PC like this does show its value. So with that said, let's try another game. Okay, getting into a game called Trapang 2, which is an interesting game. I quite like it. And it is a first-person shooter game that has some really good graphics. I mean, this is a fantastic looking game. I'm not too sure what's happening in this story. I haven't really been paying attention. But I'm just going to find a level to load into. And then we can, I'm not sure where the mission room is, I don't really remember. But as soon as I find that, we can load a mission. But just running around this base even shows, you know, how good this game actually looks. Let's just go to whatever this is. I'm just launching a mission, not really thinking about it. So you have to run back to the, this is like your home base, and then you have to run back and get to the chopper that takes you to the mission. It's a very interesting game. I really like it. I think it's a horror game, but it has a lot going on, and it's a really smooth and good game. And performance-wise, so far we are doing quite well. I mean, this is running at 2K ultra graphics, so everything turned to maximum at 2K. There is a bit of screen tearing, but I think that's because I accidentally switched on VSync. But apart from that, I mean, look at this game. The visuals are really good. I'm not sure if that's an enemy. I don't remember what the controls are. But if this isn't gaming, I don't know what is. And this is running at 60 FPS solid, reaching that FPS limit, FPS target rather, not limit, due to our screen refresh rate. And I mean, look at this game. It looks really good. It runs really well. And oh, you can slow down time. And I'm quite bad at this. Oh, jeez. Wow, that is very gory. Very cool. But yeah, I think it's a good looking game, and it runs really well. I think, I'm quite curious, let's see if we can get it to run at its actual frame rate. Let's turn off, so VSync isn't, oh, there's this, okay. Let's see. Okay, so it's running around 100 actually, and this looks fantastic. So for 2K gaming and, you know, even 4K gaming, this system is really good. So with that said, let's move on to the next one. Let's do it. Okay, getting into one of my favorite games of all time, a game called Days Gone. And this game, to me, is one of the best games ever made. I know it had some issues in terms of, I guess, just, you know, normal issues that these games kind of have with storytelling and stuff like that. But to me, this is a fantastic game. And getting into the point of this, the performance. So right now, we are actually running at 60 FPS, but this is running at 4K ultra settings. So, and that's the thing with this. I could easily get over 100 FPS running this at 2K, or at HD I could get 130, 140 FPS, but this is a low refresh rate monitor, and you know, a game like this, I think, is experienced well at a refresh rate like 60, in terms of playing it on a big screen at 4K. I think 60 FPS with a refresh rate of 60 is going to do fine. And you know, this looks really good. It runs really well, and I don't really see any issues with this. To me, this is a beautiful game. I think it has one of the best lighting systems in games. And even to me, the story is good, the action is good, the motorcycles are fantastic, and yeah, all in all, I just really like this game. I think it's a really good game. I think it looks fantastic, and I mean, you know, a 10,000 Rand computer can run this game at ultra at 4K, so that is, oopsie, that was an accident. So that's definitely worth noting. I mean, look at the beautiful sun coming through the leaves on this. It's just fantastic looking. Oh, that's a mountain lion. And yeah, so all in all, this is a fantastic performance from this computer. And I think this computer is really showing its value. I think a lot of people think that, oopsie, I just got sniped. A lot of people think that for the money, you're not going to be able to get something worthwhile, but I think that this shows that you definitely can. And there we go. So yeah, fantastic game, beautiful game, really good performance. Let's move on to the last test. Let's do it. Okay, now for a pretty hard game to run well, we are playing Hogwarts. And this game is running at, that's an interesting owl, is running at ultra graphics at 2K, so 1440p, and we are and no upscaling again, no reflex, nothing like that, so just pure performance. Okay, that's weird. I've never actually played this game, so this is a little bit strange to me. I bought it for my wife, so it's not really the kind of game that I play, but you know, it looks really good. And we are getting around 40 FPS. Now, 40 FPS is quite low, but considering what this looks like, I actually think it's quite a good result, because we are running it at 2K, and we are running it at ultra graphics. I don't really know what's going on, but visually it's a very impressive game. We are getting between 40 and 60 FPS with an average of don't know what that was, maybe a ghost. With an average of about 45 to 50. So really good result. I'm just trying to find a more open space so we can see what the performance does when when we actually... Okay, so it's quite similar, still around 40. Now, would I play like this? It doesn't feel bad to me. I might drop the graphics down to high instead of ultra, but I think I would aim for about 60 FPS. But even at 45 like this, it doesn't feel stuttery. There is a bit of visual artifacting. That's just because VSync isn't turned on, but we can actually just turn it on because we aren't reaching 60 anyway. So let's turn on VSync and let's see. Now upscaling, let's turn on VSync and let's see if it makes a big difference to the screen tearing. Oh, this TV is locked at 30, but visually it does look better just because there is no screen tearing. And it still actually feels fine, even at 30, which is quite surprising to me. But I guess this game was made for consoles, and a lot of consoles do run their games at this refresh rate, especially at high graphics. So yeah, this game does quite well on this computer. It looks nice. It runs well at around 40 to 50 FPS at Ultra, at 2K. But, you know, in terms of getting 60 plus FPS, I think you might need to either run it at HD or turn the graphics down to high or medium. And we did get a bit of a stutter there. I assume it was loading in a new area. But beautiful game, really good result. Okay, so that's going to be it for the benchmarks. Let's talk about it. So, would I recommend a computer like this above an Xbox Series X or S or a PS5? I think I would. And the reason I say that is not just the performance or even the usability, the different uses that a PC like this can provide, but also the peripherals. Now, hear me out. I know you can connect a keyboard and a mouse to a PlayStation and an Xbox, but I just don't think it's a natural way of playing. I think with this, you have the remote, you have the keyboard and the mouse, and there's just so much more you can do with it. That's what it comes down to. And, you know, effectively, this costs less than a PlayStation 5 base model. And I know this isn't going to get the performance of a PS5 Pro, but it's not going to be far off, and it's much more customizable. You can build it however you want. It can look the way you want, and it can be exactly what you want it to be. And that's, for me, what I enjoy with building computers, is customizing it so that it fits me. And, you know, if you decide you want to get into design work, you want to become a 3D artist, this PC is more than capable of that, and a PlayStation or an Xbox just can't do that. But this isn't meant to be a console killer episode. This is just meant to show the PC that I built for myself as a console, because that's what I used this for. I am selling it right now, but I've used it for about a couple of months, and it's served me really well, and I've been really happy with it. And I definitely recommend you do something similar if you want a non-console console, basically. So, but again, the consoles have their place in the market, they are valid, and they do give you good performance for the price. So with that said, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.